Hello all, my name is Putusari Arindra and my student number is 230553171. And now we will discuss the material of chapter 6, fabrication and finishing of metal product. My main reference comes from a book entitled Metallurgy for the Non-Metallurgy. 6.1 Deformation process. In the metalworks process is a workpiece such as a billet or a blank sheet, for example, can be plastically deformed by a set of tools. To obtain the desired final thickness and the geometrical configuration, metal forming process can be classified into general categories. The one is ball or massive forming operation, and the second bending and sheet forming operation. Sheet forming is sometimes simply referred to as forming in the boards and most exceptions. However, the forming can be used to describe both ball deformation process, sheet forming, and bending process. Forming is performed through contact between the surface of the forming metal and a tool. The nature of the material flow primarily depends to the forming process that is used, the temperature, the applied loads, and the frictional stress between the tools and the workpiece material. The major distinction between ball and sheet forming is the nature of the resulting deformation. Ball forming operation typically involve multidirectional deformation through the volume of the work mass. The generic types of bookworking methods include extrusion, forging, rolling, and drawing. Some methods such as open die forging and radial forging are used in both primarily mild process production and in the production of finished part. In contrast to boot forming, sheet forming is typically involves local deformation. During sheet forming, a piece of sheet metal is practically deformed by tensile loads into a three-dimensional shape, often without a significant change in its thickness or surface characteristic. Examples of sheet forming process include deep drawing, stretching, and bending. Sheet metal typically is formed into the products with a various contour shape, ranging from saucepans to car bodies. In addition to bending of sheet, section, tubes, and wire are also deformed in these manners to achieve a wide variety of geometry. Hot and cold working metals can be mechanically worked over a range of temperature. Higher temperature can improve workability characteristics, although many wood products are cold worked in order to achieve certain mechanical properties, or sometimes they are warm worked for other specific purpose. One advantage of cold working is straining. During cold working, the mobility of dislocation is lower, as they become tangled up into networks and pile up at grain's boundaries. That leads to the hardening, which makes further deformation more difficult to achieve. The grain in cold work material also become distorted, elongating in the primary direction of the deformation, such as the rolling direction in cold roll strip. At slightly higher temperatures, the degree of strain hardening is reduced, so the flow stress is reduced to high strains. Although most cold working is often performed at ambient temperature, the dividing lines between cold and warm working is not exact. One definition of warm working is when the workpiece temperature is more than 3% of the recyclization temperature, but lower than the recyclization temperature of material. A temperature above the recyclization temperature, the process is referred to as hot working or hot forging. 6.2 Primary production mills. In primary production operation, the initial stage of metalworking includes the breakdown of a cast structure into a work form. The starting material is usually either an ingot from static casting or continuous cast slabs or billet. With conventionally cast ingot structure, workability is very low due to relatively coarse microstructure and extensive segregation of impurities. Thus, ingot undergo a primary reduction step that consists of either forging or rolling, as they are processed into semi-finished shapes. Continuously cast alloy require no primary reduction step. The next step is the mill's processing of blooms, billet, and slab to produce various products from such as plate, sheet, and strip or bar. The metal of these raw products is strong and much more homogeneous, that is, uniform in grain structure than at the ingot stage. The mill's product may be prepared by finish for application, or the product may undergo additional processing for an end product, ranging from soda cans to panels destined for cars and pickup truck bodies. 6.3 Forging. In its basic form, forging consists of applying compressive stress to a piece of metal, known as the workpiece, between a pair of dies in order to permanently change in physical dimension of geometry. Large forging are processed by primary mills, but forgers also package the raw product in the form of bars, billet, or blooms for subsequent forging or hammers and press. The goal of most forging operations is to produce a part as close to the finished shape as possible. Forging products include crankshaft for car engine, adjustable wrenches, hammer rotors for steam turbine, and landing gear components for aircraft. Draw forging and press forging are the two most general types for forging process. In draw forging, a hammer is raised up and then dropped onto the workpiece to deform it according to the shape of the die that is used. There are two general types of draw forging: open die draw forging and closed die draw forging. As the names imply, the former does not fully enclose the workpiece, while the latter does. Press forging works by slowly applying a continuous pressure or force, which differs from the near instantaneous impact of drop hammer forging. The amount of the dies are in contrast with the workpiece is measured in seconds. The press forging operation can be done either cold or hot. The main advantage of press forging as compared to the drop hammer forging is its ability to deform the complete workpiece. Because forging is a relatively complex process, fracture or generation of undetectable defect can occur in the workpiece. Success in forging depends critically on the skills of the forging operator, as well as on the variety of material, process type, and die design features. For example, closed die forging imposes more lateral constraint on metal flow than open die forging. This might lead to flow-related defects such as forging laps or shrinks. 6.4 Drawing and extrusion. Drawing and extrusion are based respectively on the pulling and pushing of section through dies. In the drawing process, the cross-sectional area and or shapes of of a rod, bar, tube, and wire is reduced by pulling it through a die. The deformation is accomplished by combination of tensile and compressive stress that are created by the pulling force at the axis from the die by the die configuration. Metal flow during extrusion through a conical dies is analogous to drawing because the metal is forced through the die region. The main difference is that extrusion improves either pushing the workpiece through the die or pushing a die over a stationary workpiece. Extrusion dies and profile can be more complex than the reduced profiles generated by drawing. Drawing also is usually done cold, while most metals are hot extraction. Drawing is one of the oldest metal forming operations to make long products with excellent surface finish, closely controlled dimension, and constant cross-section. Wire and tubes are drawn in a similar manners. The general practice is to place a mandrel or a solid bar with a blunt end inside the tube. As the tube is drawn, metal forms past the mandrel, which control in the inside diameter of tube and support it during deformation. Extraction is a deformation process used to produce long, strength, and semi-finished metal products such as a bar, solid and hollow section, tubes, wire, and strip. The favorable compressive state of stress during extraction allows a high capacity of deformation, and so it is possible to extrude the metal. The metals can be only slightly deformed by other methods. Hot extraction technology. Reload billets or round ingots can be worn in an extraction press, which is an open-end die. A ram moves the metals through the die, which determines the shape of the extrude shape. For extraction working, the billet temperature is typically greater than the required to sustain strength hardening during deformation. This is generally greater than 60% of the absolute melting temperature of metal. The hot extraction process is used to produce metal products of constant cross-section such as bar, solid and hollow section, tubes, wire, and strip from materials that cannot be formed by cold extraction. Cold extraction. In this process, metal is squeezed and squeezed through a hole in a die. Low melting point and relatively ductile metals such as aluminum, tin, and lead are easily extruded. The most commonly cold extruded metals are in order or increasing process difficulty: aluminum and aluminum alloys, copper alloys, low and medium carbon steel, modified carbon steel, low alloy steels, and stainless steels. Special glass lubricant can use for the cold extraction of curtain steels. 6.5. Forming. Metal bars, tube, plate, and sheet are formed by various bending, stretching, and drawing operations. Bar and tube are formed mainly by bending operations such as compression bending, stress bending, draw bendings, and roll bendings. Sheet forming includes various bending, stretching, and drawing operations, plus some special method to develop surface with deep recess or shallow recess. Spring back is a major factor in forming operation. As an example, consider a simple bend. The tensile stress is a maximum at the outside surface of the bend and decrease toward the center of the sheet thickness. The stress is zero at the neutral axis. The piece shapes depicts the changing tensile and comprehensive stress in the bend zone. Because the tensile stress go from 0 to a maximum value of point X on the outside surface, the stress range curve developed by the standard tensile test might be used for an analysis of bending. For good bend designs, the tensile stress at point X is less than the ultimate tensile stress, as shows. If the tensile stress approaches or exceeds the ultimate strength, the metal will likely tear or fracture during bending. 6.6 Powder metallurgy. Powder metallurgy is a growing branch from metallurgy based on the production of materials in the form of metal powders and the manufacturing of parts from this material. The primary market for metal powder is for parts manufactured by various PM technologies. However, metal powder are also produced for other applications. For example, approximately 10% of iron powders are used for producing welding electrodes. Non-ferrous powder are also used in diverse applications. For example, copper powder are used as pigment for marine paints and as additive for metallic flake paints. Aluminum powder is used extensively for explosive and pyrotechnic. Powder of metals and alloys are also fabricated into parts for several reasons. Most importantly, parts of complex shapes, close tolerance, control density, and control properties can be produced by PM methods. The common methods of PM parts production is the two-step process of powder compaction. The desification refers to as PM pressing and sintering. There are also other methods of powder compaction, such as metal injection molding and high-temperature compaction technique that consolidate metal powder to high densities, approaching or equaling that raw product. 6.7 Material removal process. Material removal process, of which machining in a special class, are secondary manufacturing operations used to achieve precise tolerance and control surface finish. Machining is used for convert casting, forging, or perform blocks of metal into desired shapes with size and finish specified to fulfill the design requirement. Machining operation can be costly compared to the most of other manufacturing process because they are relatively slow to perform and often require substantial investment in overhead and skilled labors. However, the necessity of machining is the driving force behind continual improvement in productivity with better cutting machine, inkjet designs, better pulling materials, and understanding of how the workpiece impact machining cost and quality. There are three basic classes of material removal operation. The one is conventional machining operation, where material is removed from the workpiece in the form of a chip. The second, abrasive process, where small particles are removed from the workpiece by abrasion with a hard tool. Abrasive process have lower material removal rates and high energy requirement to conventional machining process, but can produce closer tolerance and finer surface finish. And the last one, non-traditional machining process, which include electrical discharge machining or EDM, electrochemical machining or ECM, and ultrasonic machining or UCM. 6.8 Joining process. Joining includes the use of mechanical, chemical, or physical force that keep two parts together. Mechanical methods are based on various types of mechanical fasteners, while adhesive bonding uses chemical bonding, perhaps with some physical or mechanical factor. Physical methods of joining include welding, brazing, and soldering. The focus here by necessary is only a brief refer on the wide-ranging technologies of welding, brazing, and soldering. The main distinction between welding, brazing, and soldering is the nature of the bond. In welds, joining occurs by interdiffusion of atoms from the base material to form a sound bond. Like welding process, soldering and brazing also rely on interdiffusion with joining by primary bonds. Unlike welding, however, brazing and soldering do not require or cause any melting between the base material. Rather, bond formation occurs between a molten filler and the substrate. Okay, that's all from me. If you have a question, you can write below in column section or comment section. Okay, thank you for all. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like. Thank you.